Hi, Justin here from Combative Edge Martial Arts, and just been running around all day today, trying to find the proper flooring for the school. I had to run to Rite Aid to pick up a couple of things, and what's funny was I drove past actually my old firehouse, and I was a fireman there for about 15, 16, 17 years, maybe close to 20 years. And I remember I had to come to a point where, I wasn't fulfilling my obligations, my duty as a volunteer fireman, and I had to make the decision to resign after all these years, because this was during the pandemic. And I had my business was, I was online teaching martial arts, and my business was tanking at that point during the pandemic. And I was struggling to maintain my student base and whatnot. And, I remember I had 100 students at one point before the pandemic hit. I was over 100 students, and then bam, pandemic hit, and we got hit so hard I was down to 60 students. So I stopped going on fire calls. I was working, and we managed to stay together online, and then we got back into the school. We opened up the school, in August of 2020, whatever date that was, 24th or 28th, something like that. I was in there, where we were allowed non-essential business or gyms were allowed to open. And I had to resign from the fire department because I wasn't doing my duties. And, it was the right thing to do. And, because it wasn't fair to all the other members who were doing their civic duties, and they were kind of in a way carrying me, and it just wasn't fair. So, it had to be done. But what was hard about it was giving it up, because I absolutely loved being a fireman. I loved it. I loved it with a passion. So the hard part was writing that letter of resignation and giving it up. And that's one thing that, as a leader, you're going to have to, when you start getting up there in places, you're going to have to start giving things up that you truly love or like for something better, and who knows, maybe one day I'll get back into the fire department later in life, but right now it's not in my cards. But it was a tough choice that I had to make, and it was the right choice, but it was still hard writing that resignation letter. I remember that like it was yesterday, just sitting at the table writing it out, and just like, man, this sucks. Spent so many years of my life there. So, but you're gonna have to make those choices. You're gonna have to make those choices. You're gonna have to make the hard choices when you're the leader and you're on top and you're working it. You're gonna have to make those hard choices. And if you've never made those hard choices before, then you haven't been put in a position yet. Because all true leaders know, and they remember defining choices they had to make when they had to choose one or the other, and they couldn't have both. And that was one of mine. So that's it for today, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay tuned.